just lasting piece, what are we in for that evening?
I think that is such a great question. I think the word that keeps coming to mind is home. Like, I think that watching the showcase will give community members a sense of home.
Hello, and welcome to The Value Proposition. I am your host for today, Terri Miller, and today we're going to be talking about Cora Dance as an organization and Cora Dance Alleghany as an amazing organization here in the Alleghany Highlands. Here with me for this conversation is the director of Cora Dance Alleghany, Ammara Shafqat. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm incredibly honored to be here today.
So honored that I get to be the host for this conversation. So we'll sprinkle in some ways that we know each other and, you know, that connection throughout the conversation. But I want to start the conversation today with the showcase. Just take me to the night of Cora Dance Alleghany Showcase in April. What are the people who are in the Historic Masonic Theater feeling during that evening? What are we feeling in that moment?
Yeah, absolutely. The showcase this year is on Saturday, April 18th. It's at 7 p.m. at the Masonic Theater, as you said. And I think what people are going to feel in that moment is just they're going to feel the emotion and kind of this gift that the dancers give after working so hard for 8 months on all of the choreography that they've been building through structures with Shannon and I. So I think it's rewarding. It's joyful. It's emotional to see young dancers and to see people being vulnerable in that way. And it's just an honor to be the director of the showcase this year in that way.
Awesome. And I will tell you, I have a sense of fear of missing out here. I have some FOMO. If you remember last year, so my kids danced in Cora Dance, and it was such an amazing experience for us. And the showcase, I missed it. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do remember this.
Yeah, so I had a trip planned far, far in advance, and as soon as you gave us the dates, I went, oh,
I know.
I'm gonna miss it. And so I begged you to let me watch the rehearsal.
Yeah, the dress rehearsal.
The dress rehearsal, and that emotion that you're saying, I felt it, and there was no one else in the theater but me. So looking forward to April 18th. But getting ahead of ourselves, let's back up a little bit. For folks who have not heard of Cora Dance or Cora Dance Alleghany, let's take this back a little bit. So tell me the story of Cora Dance. Shannon Hummel started this organization in 1998, right? What has she built over the last nearly 3 decades?
Yeah, I'm really glad that you say it in that way, because it's true. It's almost been 3 decades. We're about to celebrate 30 years of Cora Dance, of the organization. And Shannon is the founder of this really impactful kind of home, is the way that I like to think about the organization as itself. It started with her professional company called Shannon Hummel Cora Dance. It's still one of the existing 3 hubs that we have. And I think that the values of the company and the values of her as a human really, really live through the entirety of the organization. And it's the values of the company that trickle down through the education hubs, Cora Dance Alleghany and Cora Dance Brooklyn. So, as I said, a sense of home, a sense of belonging, of community building. And that's what we're just continuing to celebrate, especially as we approach 30 years of this really living and breathing organization.
Yeah. So, like most businesses, the pandemic hit Cora pretty hard. And I think the stat was 85% of the staff were displaced. So tell us a little bit about where Cora Dance was in the pandemic and sort of what happened there. Because I know that's kind of the origin story of how Cora Dance Alleghany came to be.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, exactly. The pandemic was a largely transformational time for the organization. Um, it was really about, sustainability and survival in a way, just for so many other nonprofits and small businesses. And so I know that Shannon and the staff and the youth dancers, the youth council of dancers that were up in Brooklyn and Red Hook, Brooklyn, sat down and had a really frank conversation around, like, if there are things that we have to see go or things that we have to see stay, like, what are those things that we want to continue to live and breathe throughout this organization, and you can't get rid of it. And the kids were really really foundational in saying, Shannon, it's the urban and rural connection of this organization that cannot be lost. It's what's touched me the most, and it's what's been the most transformational, and that's what's got to stay. And so I think that was really, heard from the staff that was there existing with Shannon, and in a way kind of blossomed this new chapter of what Cora could be, and created a space for Cora Dance Alleghany as an entity on its own. And that was the way of listening to the youth and dancers and saying, like, all right, that's what has to stay. Why don't we talk about establishing a permanent hub somewhere in Virginia, and continuing with the hub in Brooklyn? And here we are, and I'm the director of it now, which is wild to say. It's quite an honor to see something so beautiful come out of a really hard transitional time.
And I'll say I did not, I don't know, I guess I knew that the origins were in Brooklyn. And when it came, I was worried that it was, a moving company kind of thing, that it would be here for maybe a couple of years, and then it would move on. And when I was, doing the research for the interview, it said permanent. I was like, really? You're staying? You're going to be here?
Yeah, that's actually something that we hear that kind of feedback from everyone, and it's always been that way. I think now people are like, okay, I'm starting to, like, get what this is, or know who these people are, and they're here to stay in this way. But I'll never forget the first conversation that I had with town leadership in Clifton Forge with Shannon next to me, and we, were just talking about what we wanted to do and what we were interested in, what we saw for dance in the community. And I remember them looking at each other and being like, there's no way these people are going to do what they're saying, but whatever, sure, And I think fondly back on that, because we just have continued to grow and, create more permanence. And I am really inspired by that. I'm sure she wouldn't mind that I say this, but I know for her, home feels like a place where she can create space for artists to come together and convene and create and express themselves and feel. And that was kind of what she did for herself when she brought Cora with her. She got to continue to have a place where that happens in a community that she lives in. And I know that was really important to her.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's just what an honor to be in an organization with someone that was celebrated in that way, at that level, with a Bessie Award. It's the highest award you could receive in our field. And she did that. She did that in Brooklyn, and she continues to do the work here, teaching with me.
Yeah, such a presence here in the area. And like you said, I feel that, just walking into rehearsals and, that warmth and energy. And I think you said something about, being yourself, like bringing your full open self. I feel that with the program. So I love that. And I what an honor it would be to work for an organization that has that at its core.
Yeah.
So cool. I love that you mentioned that. Yeah. So let's talk about you.
Yeah.
So you have been with Cora Dance Alleghany since it came here.
Yep.
Moved through the ranks and, through the transformations and the performances and the promotions and, all of the different ways of getting the word out and building the program from the ground up. So here we are in 2026. and you are the director
I am.
of Cora Dance Alleghany. So
Yeah.
what has that arc been like for you?
Yeah, I have quite an interesting story and how I came to be a part of Cora. I've been a part of the organization for more than 10 years, and I actually started as a student of Cora in a way. So I was a part of this urban and rural connection that I was talking about. I met Shannon when I was in middle school, dancing in Rockingham County, Virginia. And she would bring students down from Brooklyn to work with us, and then I had the experience to go up to Brooklyn from my home studio where I was dancing, and so I have the gift of being able to be a student and a participant at a young age of the organization. And it was really through Shannon bringing down dancers and her artists and creating work with us that I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I can't get enough of this. And so after graduating from JMU with a dance degree, I moved to New York and called and was like, are there any spots open? Can I have a job? Like, I'll do anything. And I really have. I've really touched every single part of the organization, and being a student, a dancer, a teacher, a collaborator, a programs manager, working in development, starting to work in finance, and working my way to be director. And so it's a really unique journey that I like to speak on, because not everyone knows that I've kind of done all of those things with the organization. And so I really feel that I can speak to what it's like to be a part of Cora in all those ways. And yeah, when I've been reflecting back, I kind of can't believe that I'm the director of this hub here in Allegheny Highlands now. And I'm really proud of that, that I've gotten to go on that journey and to meet people like you and to meet other people in this community. It's really kind of transformed my life in so many great ways.
Love it. I don't think I knew you went to JMU.
Yeah, I did.
I went to Bridgewater.
Okay, yeah. So, 10 minutes down
right
the road.
down the road.
Yeah.
How fun.
Went to JMU. Shannon went to JMU. There's a lot of James Madison University kind of alumni that end up at Cora for some reason. But yeah, I went to JMU and graduated with a dance degree.
Yeah. Very cool. So, one of the things that I've sort of talked about, the through line for me in this podcast, is sort of that boomerang effect.
Yeah.
Of, growing up here or Rockingham, growing up in this part of Virginia and branching out and, finding something really awesome and then bringing it back to this area.
Yeah.
And it seems like this is a boomerang sort of situation where, Shannon built something really huge and amazing in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And then was able to bring it back here. So, that urban and rural connection is I think it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So co-leadership model. So
Yes.
Cora Dance has multiple hubs. And you sort of mentioned that you are the director of CDA, so Cora Dance Alleghany. Brooklyn is still, Brooklyn is still rolling.
Yeah, it's still going.
Shannon is still busy. She
Yep.
didn't just hand it over and disappear into, the sunset. Talk about that co-leadership model and sort of what that means in running the organization.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, there are still other hubs other than just Cora Dance Alleghany. Cora Dance Brooklyn still exists, as you said, and is led by Nikki Asante. And then, of course, the founder, Shannon, is still directing the professional company. And so we have those three hubs. I think that the trio kind of directorship model is one is newer. I think I've started to see a lot of organizations collaborating and working in that way. At first, I think it was kind of a step in sustainability of, how could we keep all of this work going? Not one person can do all of that work. Not just Shannon can do all of that work. And it's really transformed into this beautiful relationship that the three of us have. We all work really well together. And Nikki, similarly to me, has been with the organization for over 10 years in so many capacities. We're both dancers in Shannon's company. And so we really understand the true core values of the organization to trickle that down through our teaching at both of the education hubs. And right now, like one thing we always say to each other is like, it's got to be fun and it's got to feel good. And like those are the two things that we go with and decisions that we make for the hubs, the professional company and the education hubs. And I think it's allowed us to create deeper roots in all of the places that we're working because there's three different like-minded artistic brains working together and growing and just kind of, I think, creating more realistic pathways in operating post-pandemic. There's the arts engaged in completely different ways now. We all commune in different ways now. And so it's allowed a lot of growth for the three of us to kind of grow separately under the same mission and same values. That's fun.
I keep hearing synergy.
Yeah, synergy.
There.
Yeah, that's a great word for that and for us. And I just completely respect those women and their work, and I think they feel the same way about me. It's just really wonderful.
And I could imagine, like you said, we commune in different ways in different areas.
Yeah.
And there may be things that work here.
Yeah.
That maybe Nikki didn't know about or think about to try there, and vice versa. I love that. I love that the co-leadership model. It's really neat.
Yeah. Really there's a lot of soundboarding that we're allowed to do with each other or able to do with each other because of that, and expressing what works, what doesn't work. Have you tried this? Or, maybe there was a structure in which Cora Dance Brooklyn operated 10 years ago that worked really well, and that works really well for Cora Dance Alleghany now. So it's been really great to have a working relationship in that way with Shannon and Nikki.
Yeah, and really merging the differences, right? The perceived differences between an urban community and a rural community, and with something that's as magical as dance. Like he said, it's got to be fun. What did you say? It's got to be
fun and it's got to feel good.
It's got to be fun and it's got to feel good. And that's universal.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all what we need right now.
Absolutely.
So that's behind every decision that we make these days.
Yeah, I love it. So, it's got to be fun. It's got to feel good. And that's directed toward the students, right? Who would not... Cora Dance wouldn't be Cora if you did not have students. So who are your students here in the Allegheny Highlands? Where are they coming from? What has that felt like directing students here?
Yeah, our students are your neighbors and, your kids and your friends. We are doing adult programming for the first time, so it's the first year that I can say from ages 5 and up and up and up. Everyone is welcome at Cora, no matter your background, no matter your age, in a way. And I've gotten to know the students over a few years now. There's a large group of students that have been with us from the beginning, and getting to watch them grow as people. As dancers, of course, but mostly as people, watching them become confident and come out of their shell and kind of become leaders in their own life. I feel like the arts and dance give you a lot of those tools to be a better human. And it's so exciting to get to be in the position as director to create the structure for that to happen. And to do all that hard work, that hard, gritty work behind the scenes that people might not know what's going on. And when you get to see the students do what they do, it's just the most important thing at the end of the day.
As a parent, a Cora parent,
yep,
I see it. I see that hard work, and the wrangling of the dropping off all of the kids and shoes off. Paying attention. Are you dressed correctly? Are you prepared? Yeah. And the autonomy that you all give them as well to create choreography together. I see it, the behind the scenes, and also, what happens on Showcase Day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about the showcase some more. So April 18th is when it's happening. But that's the moment, right? All that hard work and getting to know the students and, building an identity here in the area and getting people to enroll and commit to the year of rehearsals. The showcase it's the moment.
Yeah.
Right. So April 18th, this year you have students from several different groups that are going to be performing. What is the showcase? What are these groups doing? Paint that picture for us a little bit.
Yeah, so you're right. The showcase is the moment. It's the culminating day where we get to showcase everything the dancers have been working on since October. Shannon and I create structure and give a lot of guidance to what the show will be like. But at the end of the day, the dancers really created it all with us. Whether they're 5 or they're 63.
So we're talking about the showcase night. And, again, a parent sitting in the audience and watching, you've got multiple groups of students who are performing throughout the evening. Tell us about those groups of students and, what does it mean to bring them all on that stage at the showcase?
Yeah, so in addition to our students that just take classes throughout the year, we have our Cora Youth Company. So that's a specialized cohort of students that are really ready to have more performance opportunities. And I would say they're kind of our most dedicated students in the program. We have solos, duets, quartets appearing on the stage that evening that the Cora Youth Company will be performing. We have students from Boys Home. We have students from Bath County. We have students from kind of all over our county and surrounding counties coming together. And is really a celebration of community. And with this being my first year as director, I really hope that it is the most supported, biggest turnout for all of those wonderful dancers that are performing. And I'm telling people spread the word. Even if you're not there to directly support one dancer, I think that someone would get something out of it, feeling moved or feeling inspired, and however that affects their life. The students from Boys Home, from all over, from the youth company are just amazing to take in and to witness. So,
and I have this image in my head of the simplicity of the uniform, right? The costume, if you will. It is simple, and it's about the dancers. It is about the performance and the art piece that they're creating. It's almost like staring at a painting. Yeah. And someone next to me could experience it and see something totally different in what they're creating with their bodies and, with the movement and the music. So I am excited. Okay, so let's talk pay what you can. Model. So that is very much part of Cora. That is also part of the showcase. No one is turned away based on their ability to pay. Yep. So tell us a little bit about that. What people can expect that night if, they're saying, I don't know if I can afford a ticket or, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it exactly right. The way that we talk about our pay what you can model is that no one is turned away based on ability to pay. And I think that goes back to the one of the true values and core values of our mission is to get rid of barriers that restrict people from having access to our art form, to dance, and so that means that everyone is welcome. It's family friendly. There's no excuse not to be there, and I think the pay what you can model really is a representation of how Cora meets people where they're at and meets community members where they're at, and is built on a foundation of trust and caretaking and listening. And I think the pay what you can model demonstrates that, and is it's a part of everything we do: workshops, performances, classes, and the showcase on April 18th.
So pulling off a showcase like this is, as you've said before, no easy,
Yep.
you know, one mode and that's how it happens task. So, I think about keeping the doors open, the pay what you can model, the lights, the backstage, the photography. Talk a little bit about, what it takes to put on a performance like this.
Yeah, it takes a team. It takes a team. It takes support. I think a lot of that comes from the really strong team that we have working with us right now, and the families of the dancers. I think a lot of the families, because they're so closely related to it, like see it and totally get it. And I think that's been one of my missions as director this year is getting that word out, to the broader community. We're in that place of finishing choreography and titling pieces, all of that work that you were talking about. But I'm also, wrapping up work of finding businesses to sponsor the showcase and finding ways for more community members to come in and support this work, because every dollar counts, and it's made possible through people, through our friends and through our community. And I can't stress that enough. So I'm so glad that you brought that up in that way.
Yeah. So my daughters did Cora last year, and, they had not performed on a stage. That's a huge stage.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And then I had a full circle moment this year. They're in Girl Scouts, and they attended one of the Clifton Forge community meetings, and there was the topic was Scouts.
Yeah.
And they stood on that stage and gave speeches, and I was like, it's because this became home.
Yeah.
I think that stage became home for them at the Masonic. So, think about a student like mine where, this may be their first time performing. What is Cora Dance giving to the community in that way?
Yeah, you had said a word earlier, autonomy, and I think that that's exactly it. I think that is what we want dancers to feel, especially our young dancers. Well, I take that back. I mean, whether you're 5 or you're 16 or you're 50 and it's your first time performing and being on that stage, it's a very vulnerable feeling. There's a lot of work that Shannon and I put in behind the scenes to make sure the dancers feel autonomous, and confidence is at the root of it all. And I think that that's the gift that we try to kind of create the path for and allow room for. And then when you get to see the kids shine bright and be themselves and take charge, and ownership in that, that is one of my favorite things about the showcase, in getting to see dancers performing for the first time, feel it and love it and overcome, whatever scary feelings could come with that.
Yeah. And it carries them beyond.
And it carries them beyond. And I'm glad you said that, because I have a lot of families come back to me with feedback and saying, like, whether my daughter or son or child was shy or quiet or had really severe stage fright or whatever those feelings that might be that kind of limited them from presenting at Girl Scouts or being the captain of their cheerleading team, like whatever it is, they come back to me to say they think Cora gave them some of their strengths and in those new ways that they live their life. And I mean, as you know, like dance and the arts do that for you. They make you a better human and shape you in so many ways. But I'm glad to see that's happening right in front of families' eyes. I'm proud of that.
Last question. So let's
right.
I would talk to you all day about dance.
We're having such a wonderful morning.
Absolutely. So let's wrap this conversation we started sort of in the showcase. We're sitting in the Masonic Theater. Let's wrap it that way too. So April 18th.
Yep.
That's the date. This is the showcase where we have kids from weekly classes. We have the Cora Youth Program.
Yep. Youth company.
Cora Youth Program. Cora Youth Company. Boys Home of Virginia.
Yeah.
Adult classes. We have all of these students here giving their all.
Yeah.
Why should someone come to the Historic Masonic Theater on April 18th? What are they in for? If you could give us one just lasting piece, what are we in for that evening?
I think that is such a great question. I think the word that keeps coming to mind is home. Like, I think that watching the showcase will give community members a sense of home in seeing how the dancers perform, feeling inspired for it to be their home. I feeling inspired to be a part of the organization in other ways, and working with our staff and volunteering with our team. It's really just an exciting and an emotional day for everyone involved. And so I encourage everyone to come out to see the show. I want this to be, as I said, the biggest show yet to support all of those dancers, and find what makes Cora home for you. Whether you're inspired by it or touched by it or moved by it or have questions about it, just want more and more people to be in this community with us.
Awesome. All right. So April 18th.
April 18th.
Historic Masonic Theater in Clifton
pay what
Porch.
you can. Everyone be there.
All right. And you can get tickets at...
Yep, you can get tickets online right now at the historicmasonictheater.com page. They do add a $5 ticketing fee onto every ticket. So if that is a barrier for families, we recommend that families buy pay what you can tickets on the day of the show at the door, where there will not be a ticketing fee added on. And I'll be there to say hello and to welcome people in and to get to kick off the show.
Yeah, and folks can make a day of it in downtown Clifton Porch.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for the conversation today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Terri, and thank you to just everyone that made this possible. I'm so delighted to be a part of this community in this way, and excited for more of Cora and more of this community.